Once a Toys R Us kid?
Always a Toys R Us kid.
Hey everybody, taking a trip out to Guelph, Ontario, Canada today at Stone Road Mall because there is a new Toys R Us toy box open in this shopping mall. And with the awesome news that Toys R Us is returning to the United States of America, I thought I'd give you a look at this toy box because this is probably what you're going to be seeing popping up around your area. Now, there aren't going to be that many Toys R Us's opening up in the States for now. I think it's only about 6 or so. But it's a start, for sure, and hopefully many more to come. But this particular toy box is at the top of an escalator, so it actually reminds me a lot, for those of you who grew up in southern Ontario, if you remember Highway Market in the 70s and 80s, you had to go up an escalator to get to Highway Market in Kitchener. And that was my toy store before they built a Toys R Us in my town. And so going up the escalator to a big toy store, toy section, really brought me back to the days of Highway Market. It's like you're ascending into Valhalla of toy stores. So we get to the top of the escalator and there's Jeffrey to greet us on a poster. And this used to be a theater in Stone Road Mall, and they've converted it to a Toys R Us toy box. We go up some stairs here, and it's actually pretty big. I was expecting it to be a lot smaller because there, a few years ago, was a little pop-up Toys R Us toy store that opened up in what used to be a Blockbuster Video. So I was expecting something like that, but they've filled up most of this old theater with all sorts of different toys. We've got stuffed animals and games, bikes, trains, video games. They got everything here, and they're also featuring a lot of the upgrades that I'm seeing in the brick and mortar, the standalone big Toys R Us toy stores here in Canada. So I call them PlayStations, old school PlayStations, not electronic, where they have little stations set up in corners of the store where you can play with open toys. And here's the Lego section, huge and a cool, really cool Lego sign made out of Lego. And that is the second biggest Lego man I have ever seen. A little shout out to Monkey Island fans there. Tons and tons of stuff, and I love the big signage everywhere. Really nice, nicely displayed. And then you got display boxes with lights that get activated when you push the buttons. So that for the people who own Detolfs and stuff like that, that's going to look really nice too, to be able to see what it'll look like, because some people don't play with their toys, they like to display them. And now Toys R Us is showing you what it's going to look like on display. This is an absolutely massive Star Destroyer. You get a peek inside of it too. Just gargantuan, beautiful. Even nicer with all the lights flashing on it. And a little look at all the figures that are included with the set. And this is one of those PlayStations I told you about. And they've got Lego here for the kids to just sit down and actually play. Now, I don't know if anyone needs to try Lego before they buy. I think everyone is pretty familiar with Lego, but it's nice to just take a second to actually play with the toy. That's the cool thing about the new Toys R Us, and I hope that they carry this stuff over into the American return Toys R Us's. Beautiful posters, artwork, toy artistry. I'm so glad that they're really embracing the idea of toy artistry, that toys aren't just about something you play with, but it can also be artwork, something that is to be appreciated, and posters go great with that. Lots of girls' toys here. I'm not familiar with what this stuff is, but man, there is some incredible selection. And these little islands that they have the toys set up on are cool. Really nice, kind of kind of a temporary, portable, rearrangeable thing. They're all on wheels. So this particular store is very customizable. There's another little station there for playing. We've got some Jurassic World toys, the big T-Rex. And even toys themselves are coming out in boxes that are open so you can take a look at it, touch it. Get up close and personal with some of these things before you actually buy them. Some more dino cosplay stuff. And the flooring here is really beautiful too. Nice wooden flooring. Lots of Fortnite stuff here. Fortnite is really starting to grow with the toys. There's the Marvel section. Good old Spidey. There's a J figure from Red Letter Media that they're trying to pass off as Chris Evans. I wonder if my wife is worthy. See if she can pick this up. Yep, she is worthy. Thor's battle axe. And it's also electronic. Push the button and it makes sounds. And the WWE section. Lots of wrestling figures. I call it wrestling, not sports entertainment. Love these guys. They're the Hasbro 90s style figures. Although these are all modern wrestlers, except for Goldberg, I guess. He's a classic wrestler. And there's a good old Jon Moxley from AEW. Hey, that's weird. They misspelled Jon Moxley. And we've got Hot Wheels, the big Hot Wheels section. It is very immersive. It's you definitely get the feel of a big Toys R Us store in one of these supposedly smaller toy boxes. Just completely surrounded by toys still here. There's a Transformer section. And some of this stuff I haven't seen on the shelves at my big Toys R Us in a while. This Predaking here, he hasn't been on the shelves there for about a year, maybe a year and a half. So it's interesting to see some old stock that's long gone. These are Canadian prices, popping up in these toy boxes. So that's cool for anyone who missed picking that up. During the initial run, you might see some old unsold stock getting shipped to a Toys R Us toy box. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Lots of turtle stuff there. The giant playset, sewer playset. This thing is enormous. That's really cool to see that they're still building these ridiculously huge playsets like they did back in the 80s. Here. Farm vehicles, construction vehicles. Nothing like playing in the sandbox with a good old Tonka dump truck. There's the Play-Doh section here. And there's Luana picking up some Play-Doh for some nieces and nephews, and hopefully for us too. Yeah, gotta stock up on that Play-Doh. It smells so good. And it's not just the Play-Doh itself in little buckets, but there's all these other Play-Doh toys and cutter things. Oh, another PlayStation. It's Operation. Man, I haven't played this in so long, like maybe 20, 30 years. And this one looks a little... Oh! Oops. Ugh. I don't have a steady hand like I used to. He's got a frog in the throat. That's so cool. Some upgrades to the good old classic Operation with some rubbery pieces included along with the old hard plastic pieces. Let's see if Dr. Lou will have better luck than me. Oh.
He's got a toilet bowl in his stomach. You can't get this. Please just do not pick it up.
Such a fun game, and I just love seeing old things like this, basically true to their original versions. There's more Play-Doh stuff here. All sorts of different, oh man, Play-Doh food. My mouth starts watering. I know you're not supposed to eat it, but it looks so delicious. Maybe someone should come up with edible Play-Doh, because I think it would be amazing to be able to sculpt your food and then eat it. Beans, not sure what that is. Lots more Play-Doh, Playsets, and so what is this? Poo. This is not the right kind of poo to play with. That just stinks. And oh no, more poo. It's squinchy. Oh, what is with this poo fascination? Flush and frenzy? Oh my goodness, kids, don't play with poo. There's only one poo that you should be playing with, and you'll see him in a couple minutes. Baby section, toy section, toddler section. It's really roomy too. Here's another little play island, PlayStation. The little adorable electronic bunny. Oh, he's cute. He's got a little nose and ears that move around, and then there's this little pup here with a wagging tail. He looks happy. Oh, that's awesome.
You can control him.
It's controlled by this little button here. You can take your dog for a walk.
It's amazing.
And Animal Alley, one of my favorite parts of Toys R Us. And this is a great plush section too for a toy box, and this is the only Pooh that I think kids should be playing with. Winnie the Pooh, the original Pooh. Oh, father, give me some honey. Yeah, this is very surprising how much selection, stock they have in this toy box here. So I'm hoping that the ones that they open back up in the States, because I'm thinking they probably won't be able to move back into their old buildings, unfortunately. That would be ideal if they would just buy back their old buildings or move back into them if they still own them. But if that's not feasible, then you can get a really amazing toy store moving into something like this, an old theater or maybe an old department store, a closed down Target, or even a clothing store in a mall. Got some board games here. Monopoly for Fortnite. Yeah, Fortnite is definitely the big new trendy thing. Lots of different figures. The only thing I know about Fortnite is that one figure that came out that looks just like Firefly. Ooh, I've been looking for that guy. I think that's cool. He hasn't hit the shelves here yet though. And a bunch of different sizes of Fortnite figures too. There's the G.I. Joe size, and then there's also those little tiny, smaller ones. Very interesting characters. It reminds me a lot of that Steven Spielberg movie that just came out recently, Ready Player One. And there's these little wheeled things that you can ride around on, little scooter type things. There's the G.I. Joe sized Fortnite figures. And a look at the store. Yeah, it's massive. It's, I'd say, almost as big as the one in my town of Kitchener. And another little cool PlayStation where you got a motorized little car going around this track. And the problem with these tracks is they're usually too rigid and the car flies off, but this track has some give to it. It actually is sort of moving around and adjusting itself. And letting Luana give it a try. And putting smiles on faces is what it's all about. And I think these little stations here help a lot. It's kind of hard to catch that guy. He's kind of fast. But I think these things are a great idea. They just make the toys even more fun when you can actually hold it in your hand, play around with it, test it out. And there's a look at the escalator again. So I hope you enjoyed this virtual tour of the Toys R Us Toy Box in Guelph, Ontario, Canada. Happy shopping, happy playing, and Nerdmas Day.